Are you ready?
Hold on, let me do this. Don't you look like an alien?
What?
Look at him. Okay, go press play. I'm ready.
We already action, baby. What? We already recording though.
No, it's chewing like a freaking llama.
That's on your nose too. Alright, you good.
Okay. Why you do that?
What I do?
It's okay, you can cut that out.
You can not.
Literally, cut
What if I just went?
it out. You're gross.
No, you can cut it out.
Cut it out. Okay.
All right, so look, check this out. We wanted to make a video today and just kind of have a discussion for it. That was bad. How about you introduce us this time?
Okay, guys, this is Ben Fathered.
Everybody ain't no guy.
Oh my! If we go down to that debate, I can't.
All right,
But
great.
anyways, so this
Do the
is
introduction, baby.
What?
You gotta do an introduction. You gotta welcome us in, like it's, you know.
I
what I'm
was
saying?
doing that.
Get your Steve Harvey moment on.
Anyways, hey guys, so this is Ben Fathered, and we are here today just having an after school discussion with your boy Josh Sharp and then me, Hannah Sharp.
First of all, only one of us is after school.
That's what I'm saying. We have to do your after school
Oh,
discussion.
All right.
He has very interesting days, apparently. So
So do you. You've been home pregnant. We were supposed to have.
I
our
slept
last,
all day.
So we were
I
supposed
did
to
my
have.
toes.
We were supposed to have our last weekend, which we kind of enjoyed, but it looks like this weekend may be our last weekend, hopefully. So,
It's his game. It was whatever he wants.
whenever the
We
baby
go from the
decides.
4th on Easter to induction on the 13th. So I don't even know. It's a long game.
Whenever he come, I
Yep.
told him take his time. You know, like take his time. I ain't the one to carry. I ain't the baby though. You know that.
I want him to take his time, but I want it to also be a surprise. So like whatever happens, happens. I don't care. I mean, like, you know, I care, but like I don't care. Anyways,
Well,
so what happened today at work?
let's not jump into the nitty gritty. You know what I'm saying? Let's
Come
just keep
on, I
talking
know
to
there
the
was
peeps.
some gossip. Oh, look at me.
Nah, not really no guy. It was pretty
I'm
smooth.
playing.
I mean, I was on another schedule, of course, mostly one-on-ones with students, but it was pretty cool. Samson decides to want to be the cameraman. Okay,
I
cool.
told you.
Go ahead. That was pretty cool. Actually, I'm more concerned about your day. You know, you've been here a whole week almost. So let me tell y'all a little insider. Hannah, I'm telling y'all don't know how strong Hannah is. Hannah decided that throughout her pregnancy, she was gonna continue to work. Now, originally I wasn't really up for that. But at the end of the day, as I always want to let her have her option. And so I think that with that, I was okay with it. Of course, I feel like we were checking in with one another most of the time.
No, actually, it's
We
been
had
really
time.
good.
Yeah.
It's been really good.
Well, everybody at the school has been like, where's your wife? Has she had the baby? I'm telling you, like, some of them I told the day before, the day before, the day before, and the day before, the day before, the day before, the day before, that she has not had the baby. And if I am gone, then she's had the baby. But every day they want to be like, how's your wife? Is she had the baby yet? She had the baby yet? And I'm like, I know y'all not helping. I can't wait either. But that's just how it's kind of been at the school.
I mean, they're middle schoolers.
Yeah.
So ranges 6th to 8th grade.
Literally, they're more excited than we are. I kid
Yeah,
you not.
honestly.
These kids are more excited about the baby than we are combined.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're excited about him, but like, they get me excited, to be honest. Sometimes they really do like pump me up. Cause I'm like, I'll be like dragging, I'm like,
Yeah.
and then they're like, oh, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Like,
and
you
it's
know?
cool because like sometimes during the day, you know, you can be so fixed in your schedule, and then randomly they like, how's the baby? And you're like, oh, it's good to take a moment just to think about something else, you know?
Right.
And so I actually appreciate it.
I really appreciate it. It gets
Yeah.
me off of like all the scary thoughts. And then like sometimes like I really don't get to talk about it as much and stuff in a sense of like light. So and so
All right.
and so it's like when that does happen, I'm like, man, God, like you do bring joy in every moment through other people because it just happens. I'm excited, so
Down.
I get to talk about me, right? Like I love to talk about the students, and I like to get like into their world of like what's going on today and where kids are at and stuff, and of course he does too, and giving advice and things like that. I love doing that. But like when people actually want to know, like want to know further in, I'm like, okay, I know there's a limit, but it's cool because you know these days there's a lot of teens. Well, they're not teens yet, right? Preteens who want to grow up a little faster than usual. So it's really cool to like really give them advice and let them know like the real truth.
Yeah.
Pregnancy is beautiful, like God's gift, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of other stuff that goes with it.
But I also think it's cool too, because like, you know, when you work in education, you don't literally know what these kids are going home to, right? The situations. And sometimes, like, I know for me, sometimes coming to school was one of my most exciting parts of the day. Like, you know, because I got to, you know, I had my group of friends or whatnot. And so it's like, for them, it's like, you don't really know what they go home to. So to see them come together and be excited about something, right? Regardless if it's just a baby, like, you know, I think that's cool too. But the realness of that conversation, having that with them is cool also. But it's like, man, just to see them excited about something. And like, I don't always like to share personal stuff, but it's like, I mean, that's the obvious. We built like a reputation before we even got to know the kids of like us together, her being pregnant, and
at first it was just me being pregnant. And then when he started working at the district, because I'm just a substitute teacher, so then when he started actually working in the district, then it was him and stuff. And then when they associated us two together,
somehow one kid finds out, every other kid knows.
I'm like, whoa.
yeah, we like built this reputation, but it's cool, like, because I feel like that has like propelled me into relationships with other kids that weren't necessarily as outgoing as some of the kids, but like just were in a circle or around when they was brought up, and they're looking like, wait, you're with Miss Alfred?
But
well, at the time you were Alfred.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. So I touched your baby? I touched your baby? I touched your baby. You know, it was like, dang, like,
that
okay.
was the first of people touching me too. I said, ooh. But
because all the other kids, it was like, I'm touching it. You got a chance to touch it? I'm touching it next.
Yeah. But it's like, it's crazy because like I have to also like let down boundaries. I'm still like very like, this is my bubble, and I really believe in like who touches you and stuff, and also the appropriateness of that.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think it's cool just because, I don't know, me being a substitute teacher, he's actually staff like in the school, but I think it also shows kids like, because before I didn't know he was going to start working there.
Yeah.
That just happened, that opportunity happened and presented itself. But me, I was just like being like me, just talking, just appropriately talking and saying like things that, you know, was on my heart to say to the students at the time, what was relevant. Yeah. And then he starts working, and so they get an insight of me personally to a certain extent, but also now they actually get to see like me personally, and then now hear some of your stories.
Yeah. But
like can combine them together of like, oh wow, like so he must have also done this too, or so this is their lifestyle, because you really don't get to know who teaches you. You really don't get to know them as a person, and I think it really matters of who's teaching you, who they are as a person too, knowing that background to a certain extent. But if you could get to a personal conversation with a kid when it's needed at the right time, I think that's just as valuable too.
Sorry, y'all, I haven't gotten a chance to greet the dogs fully, so they're still
I told y'all he is a baby. He babies him.
But no, I think you hit a good point, because like, you know, I think the closest educators that I had, or the ones I really listened to, were the ones who either told me something that I felt stuck to me, or I related to, or stuck with me, or someone who just like kind of let us opened up to us in a way that like just let us see a deeper side of him or her than anything else. Because I mean, you spend a lot of time at the school, especially as a middle school. Like, you know, they want to be doing video games, YouTube, they want to be on TikTok, all these other things, you know, but they're at the school, you know. And so my thing is, of course, yeah, we have work to do, of course, but like, I want us to have fun too, because you, like I said earlier, you never know what some of these kids are going through. And that's the reality of working at a school. It's mandatory for everybody. It's mandatory for every kid, regardless of the situation, you know, and you never really know the deep story of really what they're going through. And I think sometimes for them to, you know, feel like they can have a moment just talking to somebody outside of schoolwork, or, you know, being told what to do, I think is needed. I mean, props to the faculty who do that, you know, and, you know, at times we have to do that as well. But it's like, it's also good to have those moments with the kids that's just like free of boundaries, free of like the weight of the, you know, what the expectation is of the school. And so that's one thing I feel has been special. I mean, I every experience I've had on the school campus has been like that for me. You know, that's one thing I always try to do with the kiddos, is be able to be myself too, while, you know, also holding those boundaries and expectations, right? Because learning is important too, you know, but we can have fun, we can talk, as long as we, you know, let's get our work done. And like I tell them all the time, be a leader, you know, and those are things that I feel are more important, you know, because schoolwork is going to be schoolwork, but, you know, they're there to be impacted as well, you know, and so that's the main focus for me. But
yeah, Josh has been using that word impactful a lot, which has gotten to me, especially because, like, in school, I even tell them, like, even with college, like, I wasted $29,000 plus. I'm just saying, I'm being real, okay? Like, I can't say I wasted, because there was a lot that I learned, and so many experiences, like, that was all worth it and stuff, to be honest. That's the only way I could see light in it. But
you learned a lot.
I learned a lot, but honestly, like, when it came down to learning education-wise, like, even when I was younger, there are bits and pieces. The only things I really, like you said, the only things I really took in were from teachers who really, like, opened up. And I don't know, it's because I respected everybody, but it was, like, a different respect.
Yeah.
On, like, I don't know if that makes, like, I had a different respect for them, so it was, like, for them to want to be honest, it takes a lot for a person to be vulnerable, especially when they don't owe it to you. And for them to just open up about something and really just try to get to where you understand, to help you and guide you later on, instead of rather you see it now or not. Like, you think about it, you're like, dang. And so those are the classes where I really took in some education. I was like, okay, like, I understand this. And I really tried, because, like, it was like their love for it kind of made me have love for it as well. But I'm not gonna lie, maybe it's just me, but other classes where, like, the teachers just, like, standoffish and just really didn't care for the students. You could tell those people who just go for a check. I mean, I know we financially need it, but it's like, I didn't learn or grasp anything. And I cannot tell you anything about the subject and stuff. It wasn't until I had to, like, self-teach myself some things, but I couldn't recall anything from those classes. So it's like, I think that, like he says, like, there has to be some type of, you know, you have to put time into your education as well. But I think as a teacher of any sorts, that you do have to have that vulnerability with students, because they are still people. They're not just robots who go and you can just, like, put all these things and program them. Like, they can't be programmed, no matter how much. I mean,
I'm not saying a face from what you said. I was thinking about something else as a means of, like, we're coming from a perspective have not being full-time teachers. You know, we don't know really inside and out everything that teachers have gone through, or through the grading, you know, the meetings and all these other things. So we're speaking from a different perspective. So we definitely don't want to offend any educators out there.
Oh yeah,
Right?
I have a lot of family who are educators.
Yeah,
Me too.
Yeah, we love the educators. And I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
Just in case, there was anything. But like, we definitely don't want to offend anyone who's full-time doing it and is having a hard time balancing, being themselves and hitting the requirements that, that they're required to do. Because we definitely understand that's tough. Props to the educators. That's one of the toughest jobs I think a lot of people can do. And if you've never been in education, you don't have an idea all the things that they deal with. And so I don't want this to sound like we're coming from that point. I feel like what we're sharing is like just the difference of impact on campus versus just having an experience in education as a student without having that realness.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, having so much to teach, I know that realness can be hard to hit, but I definitely do think that it's very necessary. And so I just felt I wanted to share that, and not saying anyone got offended by that, but I'm just like, I just want to,
It's good that you lighten that up because we don't know how people are going to perceive things differently.
Yeah.
And honestly, like he even tells me because he has more experience behind like education and behind the doors of it and stuff. That's just why I love subbing, because I could just walk in wherever God leads me and just, whatever happens. Yeah. But, and honestly, I do think about teaching and stuff for those reasons, but he also enlightens me and like he said, it's not always the teacher thing of the district requirements of what teachers have to do. Some teachers like me, like that's the only thing that kind of stops me from wanting to be a teacher is because like he says, I want to go in there and really make a difference in lives and teach, but in my style of teaching. And I know that, teachers are now, because all the STAR tests, or is it STAR, right?
STAR, yeah.
Yeah, so all the STAR tests and all those things, like they have to do it this way and they have to fit these things in, and I get that pressure. And so, needless to say, teachers, you are amazing.
Yeah.
We understand, and now I hear a lot more and stuff in the background. But also those teachers who really did inspire me, I really meant what I meant.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for sure. And no, I'm not taking.
No, I get what you're saying.
But I just, I say this because, I just think about like when I was at other jobs, right? McDonald's, Walmart, at the museum. Like, I think everywhere you find yourself, it's hard to really make the impact that you want. Because when you're joining a job, you're joining a vision, right? You have your own vision, but realistically, like, you're joining someone else's vision.
Yeah.
And the hardest thing, because I think the hardest thing is to step somewhere with your vision, your character, and not offend, right? Because if you go in with this one-sided person, and you just like, I can fix this, I can change this off the bat without building a relationship, without building rapport with people and students, it's like it almost becomes offensive, right? And so that's why I say, like, I know it's hard because you're joining a vision, right? The school has goals. The school has its own expectation. When you go to one school, you may go to another school. They're doing things completely different, and though you were doing that different at your school, this school, you go to the other one, or, this McDonald's and you go to another McDonald's, or, this Walmart, you go to another Walmart. It's like you still have to honor and submit to what they're doing, right? And that goes back to that scripture you brought up the other day, when you were saying, we were talking about another topic, but the scripture was, slaves, obey your masters, right? And I think about that in a lighter sense, right? Like in the sense of employees, right? And obey the boss, right? Like submit to him in order to, be able to make the impact that you want, right? And so, I don't know, this is another subject, but at the end of the day, it's like, I think it's difficult to be impactful when you have to like join in with another vision. If that makes sense. And I find it difficult for me, wherever I'm at, to actually be impactful the way that I want to be, simply because I know they have a vision, right? And I don't want to interfere with the good things that they're doing, right? Can I add? Of course, but you realize once you build rapport, once you spend that time and do your due diligence and just endure, is eventually you'll have a voice.
Yeah, that's true.
And your vision is important wherever you go. But at the end of the day, it takes time to build rapport, and it takes time to actually make the impact that you want to make. And that's the hardest thing, is the patience.
Yeah. It's crazy because Josh always used to tell me that no matter what job I get or how long I stayed, it's always, I'll always feel like, dang, like, I just want to, do this, and I just want to be me and all these things. Because honestly, like I told my boss, I used to work at a bank, and like I told him, I love God. Like, I'm a follower of Christ. And so I would, at the beginning stages, it's always the beginning stages of when I get a new job, like the beginning stages that are really difficult. Like, a lot of people really don't like you, or because they say, like, I come off too strong. Like, I have like whatever personality.
Extroverted or what?
Yeah, it is extrovert, but like, I just come off strong. Like, I just like to be friendly. And so to a lot of people, that's just too much. That's what they always say at first. They like me eventually. But it's like, me, I'm just like, man, I just want to be like this. And I always want to like do things a certain way and stuff. And I don't see no harm in it. But Josh always tell me, like, but that's your boss, and he has these rules, and you have to respect that. Like, you're coming into his workplace, and you have to do these things. And so that's what I always have to keep in mind and stuff. Like I told my boss this one time, it got to a point where I was in a place spiritually between work and, following Christ. And I told him I had to be honest with myself and with him that, hey, I fear God more than I fear you. Like, I would do all that you need me to do, but when it comes down to it, Christ, like, what he's calling me to do in that moment, like, this is what I'm going to do. But I still respect, I will still respect the rules. But if ever needed, especially when you really can't get in trouble for those things, but, it's just uncomfortable for people, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, and so needless to say, I'm saying this because that also applies with, like, working, especially teaching and stuff with students. Like, sometimes, especially, I've always been that kid in school that would get in trouble for asking questions about God. And now I know it's because the teacher cannot respond back in that sense. The students can ask, but to some teachers, like, it was just better. It was easier, I guess, for them to stop you than to, like, keep you going, and then, like, they're just stuck with a whole bunch of kids wondering the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
And it goes off track.
Yeah, and so like, with the students at school and stuff, like, I have to learn, and I guess that would be the hardest part of teaching, is learning when to, like what words to say, how to say them, and, like, when it's appropriate or not appropriate.
Yeah.
As well as
Samson wants to be on camera.
as well as, like, you still being a teacher and still following their rules and stuff. Like, I walked into this one classroom with a teacher, you could tell that you could tell her personality just by the way she has her classroom. And for a moment I thought I was going to, like, a Christian school. I was like, man, is this a Christian school? And so in her classroom, you could tell she's a follower of Christ, because on her desk she has the stuff that she can see, and it's not projected at the students, but on the walls she also has, like, the scriptures on the walls that doesn't say necessarily the scripture, like where it came from, the verse.
More like the quotes.
But yeah, the quotes and stuff. And I'm like, there are ways to do it without really doing this stuff, So it's like, she's teaching, but also she has her room still impactful. So, like, when kids are zoned out and they're really not caring about the stuff, like, they can still look at the walls and just be like, they might grasp something. Josh over here, I know it really does make a difference, because I encountered a student that Josh has, and she told me, she was like, man, Josh is this kind of person, and all these things, like, your husband's such a good guy, you're married to a good husband, you're married to a good guy, and he does all these things, and there's this thing he has on his board at work where it says, do
right win today. It's a high school quote from football.
Oh, but like, it's something like she remembered, though. Like, she remembered, like, certain things he says, and I know what he says. So, well, other than the quote, I saw the quote, but, like, it's like, you know, even I guess, you know, with teaching stuff, like there's always still, you can still be impactful the way you want to be impactful, like how you are and stuff, like in different ways. And it's cool to see how the students really, it's cool for the students to actually tell you as well how impactful you can be to them in that role, that profession.
Yeah, I think that goes back to, and I kind of want to end this video on this for time's sake, but seizing the opportunity. You know, you may not have no time in the class to actually do what you really want to do, but in the hallways, you know, or you know, during one class period, you got some free time, and you realize that some of the students actually, in being able to read a student, right? So I pay attention to the students. Sometimes you can see a difference in demeanor, a difference in tone, and I'm like, hey, you okay? You don't seem, you know, and noticing those little things and pointing those little things out opens up opportunities for them to be like, how did you know? You know, and then so later on when they are going through something, he actually needs to go outside.
He just came from outside.
This is good timing that I'm cutting it. But it's seizing the opportunity, because you'll realize that those opportunities accumulate together and opens up another conversation, right? And you'll see the opportunity come later. So that's kind of what happened with her. It's like little moments, right? Hey, how you doing today? I notice you're down. You know, are you okay? Just want to make sure everything's okay. You don't have to talk to me. You don't have to tell me anything. Just want to make sure everything's okay, you know? And then later on, when, you know, the moment comes, she's already like, I feel like for some reason I can trust this guy, you know? Like, and so that's kind of what happened. But actually, like, you know, it just takes patience, because realize you're going to work at the school at least a year to 5 years. Some people work there 10 years, so you don't have to do it so quickly. You got a whole year minimum for each student to at least be impactful for a moment that's going to save them for some moment later, you know?
Maybe half of that, because they only get 30 minutes in class, let's say, and that's only for half a semester.
Yeah, and one thing that, you know, we always stick on is our character. So if you continue in your character, that does a lot for anything that you can say, because what you say would just back up your character, you know, because they'll believe it, you know, because your character is showing it, you know. And so that's what I always try to do, is just remain who I am with them, and let them know that they can be themselves with me, you know. And so, but yeah, so that's pretty much it with that. But appreciate y'all for listening. There will be a part 2. Maybe we should do season the moment next, season the opportunity or something.
Yeah, we could do that.
Part 2. I don't know. We'll see. But appreciate y'all for joining. We hope y'all enjoyed. If y'all feel free or feel led to subscribe, like, comment something that resonated with you. Comment something that you feel that would we could talk about, or continue in, or another topic that you felt came from this video. Like we said, we just kind of freely chatting, so this wasn't planned. There's no, there's nothing.
This is just after school
there's
discussion.
Nothing scripted.
Hey, and even teachers who are out there, or people who are pursuing to be teachers, like, let us know, like, let us know some easy ways to open up doors with students, or let us know if you learned something on how to maybe open that door to be open with kids, or just give us advice. If you want to give advice, give us advice, because like we said, we're still learning. I'm not a teacher yet, I'm just subbing. So, I mean, I would like to know your experiences and the things that you've also partaken in your journey of how many years of teaching. Because like I said, we don't know, but we do see some things, and I think it's cool what you're doing. So thank you for doing what you're doing. It takes a lot of work. You're very underpaid, but yet you still stay. So thank you for that mission being completed.
Samson is bugging to go outside, so we got to cut it. We love y'all. I love you more. And appreciate y'all.